What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Just the Total Package and Craig the British Blog, bringing our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, Mark Henry, 2011. For audio fans,
someone's going to get their ass kicked.
SoundCloud and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out our exclusive content on Daily Motion, Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, can you give us a follow at Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? Jess, it's Mark Henry.
Yeah, why Mark Henry, Jess?
Who's Mark Henry?
Why?
I don't even know.
Explain.
What do you mean, who is Mark Henry?
Mark Henry. What?
He has two first names. It doesn't make sense.
He's only an Olympic power lifter, and he medaled, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He was good.
I'm so dumb. Like, I make the topics, and I'm like, he did. What else did he do? I don't know.
There was
world's strongest man legitimately.
So, no.
There was a special bar that he used that only he could lift, and it was a big deal.
So,
it's true.
Mark Henry is like sweet and sour. He's like because like he was in the company for like 20 fucking years before he finally hit his stride. Like, I mean, not quite 20 years, but he was hired in 1996 and went on
10-year contract.
Yeah, and like he never got better, it seemed. Like, but Vince loved him for some reason. I hate to say it. Vince loves big guys, and he was strong, and he was talented, and he was an athlete. Vince had so much patience with him, and he finally found his voice. And I feel he was ECW champion in 2009, I think. And then here, and we're going to talk about 2011. This is his biggest year in wrestling because he won the world title. Besides the fake retirement speech with John Cena, which we talked about before we hit record and happened in 2013, his best year was this year, like where he won the World Heavyweight Championship, not the WWE title, the World Heavyweight Championship. But it's like he finally hit his stride. And I blame a lot of this on Vince. I think that if Paul Heyman were to have booked Mark Henry, we would have saw a much different Mark Henry. Look what he did for the Big Show. Look what he did for A-Train.
I was just thinking, like, yeah.
I think that
Big Show was
I think that Vince just, look, man, Vince. I don't know when Vince lost touch, but it might have been around the time that he should have cashed in on Mark Henry. And I feel like Henry, this year was like, it all clicked. He had Tony Atlas in his corner for the ECW run, which I think helped him out a lot. Like, I think he needed someone to center him. And then this run was this is when the House of Pain got invented and all that stuff. And this was it. Like, you're like, oh, where the fuck has this been for all these years? Like, he just hit it and he found his stride. And this was the Mark Henry that I'm glad that he finally found, because you had someone with that much talent, that much size, that much strength. And, he's a great guy in the locker room. He's a funny guy. He's a good man. And I think that this was, I want to focus on this year rather than trying to do like a legacy, which I could have done. But I mean, there was just a lot of years where he floundered and got injured a lot. He's a big boy, man. When you snap shit, you're down for months, so I like this year. I think that there was a lot of really good I remember a lot of really good stuff from Henry this year.
I think the machine has a bigger blame for it, but let's get into it, where Mark Henry finally starts to peak, and that's in 2011. For the majority of 2010, Henry would flounder in the tag team division on Raw. He would team up with MVP, but failed to capture the tag team championships on multiple occasions. Henry mentored Lucky Cannon, is that right? On the second season of NXT.
I'm sorry, who is Lucky Cannon? Is that a real person?
The legendary Lucky Cannon. We're going to do a legacy next week, so you should get ready. And we're gonna
Wow. That's not true. No, that is true.
What?
He was eliminated on August 10th episode of NXT. In September of 2010, Henry began teaming with Evan Bourne, starting the Night of Champions pay-per-view, where they entered a tag team
Can you
turmoil.
stop real quick? I don't mean to be a dick. But what the fuck are we doing with Mark Henry? Like, rotating him in and out of, like, with MVP and Bourne in the fucking tag team division. Why did Vince ever resort to putting a man of his size and his stature in the fucking tag division? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
This screams that he had no idea what to do with him.
Like, I mean, but Vince employed him for 100 years. He had a contract for 100
He's like 10
years.
10 years, $1 million a year, like world's strongest man. He was his biggest fucking bet. Like, you've never seen that
Crazy.
before.
All right, go ahead, Dave.
There you go. No, you're fine.
Don't interrupt again.
Okay. So the Internet Tag Team turmoil for the WWE Tag Team Championship. They made it to the final two before being defeated by Cody Rhodes and Drew
Matt
McIntyre.
Sydal and
It was the world's
Sydal
strongest.
and Mark
It was
Henry.
their tag team name was the world's strongest born. I think. I'm
No,
totally wrong.
that's not fair.
That sucks, Dick.
That team came to an end in October of that year when
Gross.
Bourne suffered an injury and was taken out of action. Thank God for that.
So it wasn't the world's strongest born. It was
Henry-
the world's weakest born.
I
I apologize. I've never been in the ring. I
Probably should have been a bornted.
What's up? My God.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Okay.
Henry then formed a team with Yoshi Tatsu on November 29th episode of Raw.
God damn, they have
defeating-
no clue what to do with this guy. They really don't. Yoshi Tatsu. Sorry, continue.
It's fine. Defeating WWE Tag Team Champions Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater after a distraction by John Cena. They received a shot at the championship in the next week and a fatal 4-way elimination tag team match, which also included the Usos and Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov. Henry and
God, the Usos are around back then? Crazy.
For the first
yeah.
team,
Okay.
and Henry was the first team eliminated in that match.
Sure. Why not?
So he total
Just put-
afterthought.
Your biggest investments, put him in a tag and eliminate him in the first fucking.
And eliminated. Yeah, but April 25th of 2011 comes up on the episode of Raw. Henry was drafted to the SmackDown brand.
Here we go. Here
as
we go.
part of the 2011
Get some.
WWE draft. Who was running that draft at that time? Just was that Heyman or no?
No, this is way after Heyman.
Way after Heyman.
Yeah, Heyman was 03,
Could you
04.
Could you imagine? On the May 27th episode of SmackDown, Henry participated in a triple threat match against Sheamus and Christian to decide the number one contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, which was won by Sheamus. Damn it. I feel like we're going to get there eventually.
And we were just talking about, too, on our unscripted episode, as we're recording this, that Sheamus has returned again. Sheamus has been around a long fucking time, by the way. Sheamus as well. Not as long as Mark Henry in 1996, but Sheamus has been around a long time.
Henry was 1996.
Yep, he was hired in 1996.
Wow.
Right outside the
Crazy.
Olympics. Right after the Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah, so 2026, if he's still working in AEW, it'll be 30 years of wrestling business.
He's more sitting right now than wrestling. Just sitting
Fair
around
enough.
doing stuff. It's good for him.
On the
Good for him.
On the June 17th episode of SmackDown, Henry was scheduled to face an angry and emotionally unstable Big Show,
So is
who
Sable.
warned Henry not to get into the ring.
Don't you do it?
Henry ignored that warning,
What?
and the Big Show assaulted him
Oh.
before the match could begin.
You
This
shouldn't assault
act
anybody.
ignited a feud between those two. Henry faced Big Show in a singles match at Money in the Bank, and he won there.
Not another splash. Look at this. And it's over. Mark Henry laying waste to the Big Show. Well, that was
The
impressive.
world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
Mark Henry is on the roll of his career.
After the match, Henry crushed Big Show's leg with a chair, kayfabe set, injuring him, an act Henry later referenced as an induction into the Hall of Pain. Fantastic.
Started.
Henry did the same on Kane on the next
I
episode
love
of
that. By the way, I
SmackDown.
love that. I fucking love that gimmick. Like, I remember that, like the Hall of Pain. I'm like, how fucking smart is that? Like, Hall of Fame, Hall of Pain.
It's
I get it.
simple.
Like, yeah, but it was just really
It's
cool.
super
Like,
simple.
it's so silly. Like, he'd been around for, at this point, he'd been in WWF for 90 years. And then, like, finally, they're like, oh, let's give him a catchphrase. Let's fucking do something with him. I'm like, well, I mean, it only took you 90 years. So that's a legit figure. Don't look it up. 90 years he was in WWF before they
9-0.
decided to make the Hall of Pain. 9-0. Don't look it up. It's factual. Don't do it. You don't have
It's
enough
actually
fingers.
15 years. Legitimate. Like, if he was
I
signed
said
in
90.
96
Fuck.
and you're talking 2011,
Doesn't sound as cool
that
when you say it.
is 15 years.
I
they
felt
figured
90
out
was like
what to
more
do
of
with him.
a poignant. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
We'll go with
My
what you
bad.
said. Fine.
Mm,
But still, that's a long time, right?
Henry.
15 years? Like, seriously, like, yeah, it's
That's
a fucking long time. And then Vince is finally like, oh, catchphrases. I used to do those all the time. Like, and then they
You,
gave
I mean, you in 15 years, you birthed the child to a learner's permit to drive. So fair enough.
this was his learner's permit
Yeah.
to the Hall of
What's up?
Pain. Someone's gonna get their ass kicked. Someone's gonna. Like that. I don't know.
Mark Henry did the same to Kane on the next episode of SmackDown, and in the months ahead, Vladimir Kozlov and the Great Khali suffered the
oh
same.
God.
Fucking
fate.
all these people up right in the Hall of Pain. You're inducted,
Hall of
motherfuckers,
Famers.
into the Hall of Pain. Fuck.
Induct them all. Not bad about Khali being inducted. Hopefully, I just wish that would have been the end.
Break all
but
their
it
legs.
wasn't.
Break them all.
Anyway, at SummerSlam 2011, Henry defeated Sheamus in countout after slamming him through the
Dave
ring
would have gave that
barricade.
match a D.
The official is now counting. At a count of 5, I believe, Sheamus was driven through the barricade.
That entire metal barricade was busted in half.
A count of 7 now by the official.
I don't think he's going to make it.
Sheamus is trying to crawl back toward the ring. The official at a count of 9. Sheamus has only got one more count, one more tick to make it back in, and he can't do it.
The winner of this match, as a result of a countout, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
What an effort by Sheamus here tonight, but Mark Henry continues.
Yeah. It's usually an automatic.
Mo
F.
fucking
Yeah.
taking shots, David. Jess is taking shots.
I mean,
Well, I mean, I would
let
agree.
me-
When I read that, I was like, I would fully agree with Dave on this one. There's no problems here.
Let me ask y'all a question. In the last
What?
2 years,
What?
what match on a pay-per-view at WWE has ended in any kind of disqualification?
I'm going to say none on that one.
Your mom versus Angle.
Oh, that was a DQ. Yeah.
Yeah. DQ Angle couldn't handle that.
Yeah. Your mom put Angle in the ankle lock, and then Angle fucking had to cheat to fucking lose. Everything knows that.
That's all right. All right. On the August 19th episode of SmackDown, Henry won a 20-man battle royal because he couldn't win 30 to become the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship to face Randy Orton, that legend killer, on a Night of Champions. And throughout weeks on SmackDown and Raw, Henry regularly attacked Orton, getting an advantage over him there. On September 18th of 2011 Night of Champions, Henry defeated Orton to win the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time and would successfully defend the title against Orton at Hell in a Cell in October of same year in a Hell in the Cell match.
I remember those matches.
Not this big
Mark
man.
Henry!
Here we go.
The world's
We going to
strongest
school
slam!
and it's all
Mark
over with.
Henry! Mark
My
Henry!
goodness.
Mark Henry is the world champion!
You
Here
gotta
is
be
your
kidding me.
winner and the new world heavyweight champion, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
The 15-year odyssey is over.
I remember him winning the title, and like it was like a kind of a thing, and I was like, oh, you know what? This is really fun. Like he'd be doing the Hall of Pain thing and all that. So like I remember that was really fun, but I don't remember those matches. I need to go back and watch them or play an audio clip. Oh, right here.
No, same. I think a bit of a lapsed fan at this point. Like
Yeah.
the
It got really tough. Like after
ruthless
2010.
aggression area.
Yeah.
I will
I
absolutely
was gonna
say.
say there's some tough moments here. The aggression moment I felt ended in 06. 01 to 06 was aggression.
Well, this is and then like this
it
is
went
after
it went PG after.
like 3 or 4 year spans for me. Like I remember Henry here, which is why I wanted to do this episode. But like, yeah, there was just in the PG era, just some shit. I was like, I don't fucking care. I remember watching a 3-hour Raw and doing the Jeff special, which was like 20 minutes. Like I'd fast forward because I just didn't give a shit. Like I was like, dude, this is
Yeah,
fucking tough, man.
the Jess special.
Yeah, it was Jeff
That's
special,
hilarious.
20
I love
minutes, 3-hour Raw.
On an October 7th episode of SmackDown, Big Show had returned and chokeslammed Henry
Oh,
through
good.
the announcer table, thus
Thank God.
earning a title shot against Henry at Vengeance. During the match, Henry superflexed the Big Show from the top rope, causing the ring to collapse from the impact and the match to be ruled a no contest.
Because if this happened right here, this could be.
Look out!
You gotta be kidding me.
That gets replayed over and over and
Yeah,
over.
really was.
Love that moment, by the way. When you look at it just as a brief 5-second moment, it's quite incredible. Henry began a feud with the Money in the Bank briefcase holder Daniel Bryan on the November 4th episode of SmackDown, challenging Bryan to a non-title match to prove that Bryan could not become champion. During the match, Big Show knocked out Henry, making him win by disqualification. At Survivor Series, Henry retained the World Heavyweight Championship against Big Show after a low blow that disqualified Henry.
Oh, so many
Angered by
B's and
Henry's
F's from
cowardice,
Dave.
Big
This is
Show
ridiculous.
crushed
Get out of control.
Henry's ankle with a steel chair. Yeah, it's too much. Like, by the way, Daniel Bryan at this moment was so over, I believe, that why do we have to do any of this? Keep
No,
the
he-
big boys away.
This
from
wasn't
Daniel Bryan.
this was the heel Daniel Bryan. He was trying to. This is way before the Yes Movement.
Okay. All right. On the November 25th episode of SmackDown, Henry was knocked out again by Big Show, at which point Bryan cashed in the briefcase for a title match and quickly pinned Henry. However, SmackDown General Manager Theodore Long revealed that Henry was not medically cleared to compete and voided the match, so Henry remained champion and the briefcase was returned to Daniel Bryan. That's fucking stupid.
That's pretty dumb.
Why do it? Later that night, Bryan won a Fatal 4-Way match to face Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage. On the November 27th episode of SmackDown, Henry defeated Bryan in a steel cage match to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. At TLC Tables, Letters, and That Matters, Chairs, on December 18th of 2011, Henry lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Big Show in that chairs match. After the match, Henry knocked out Big Show, resulting in Daniel Bryan cashing in his Money in the Bank contract to win his first World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, look at this! Cole, do you believe what we just witnessed?
Here's your winner and the new World Heavyweight Champion, Daniel Bryan!
It's just
A lot of fucking DQs and no contests here, but yeah, Daniel Bryan won his first World Heavyweight Championship against Mark Henry here, and I remember all that. And then we would go into this ends 2011, but into 2012, the WrestleMania 28 match is our favorite when Sheamus beats Daniel Bryan in like 2 seconds, like in the opening thing. So it all kind of tied in. Like I will say, remembering some of this stuff, I know there's a lot of DQs on pay-per-views, and I understand 1,000%. You are correct about that's not paying the fans off. How dare you fucking, charge money? And
it's
I get all of it. I get all of it. But I remember with Daniel Bryan, I remember this kind of being fun because like he was so small and you had two giants like Henry and Big Show, and then Daniel Bryan was in there, and then he finally ended up winning it and cashing his Money in the Bank briefcase. So I remember these storylines being pretty fun, and I enjoyed Mark Henry being world champion. I was really happy with it. They threw Big Show in there as like the big guy that maybe could be the foil, but then you didn't really see it in the long run. The small guy, Daniel Bryan, ended up kind of getting the best of both those people. So it was fine for what it was, and it resulted in Mark Henry's probably best year because he won a World Heavyweight Championship, his first. And I think I don't remember if he won anything after this. I could be totally wrong, but it was his first World Championship, and it paid off and everything. And I was like, finally, fuck, you're fucking investment that you put in 1996 like finally paid off for you when it was just simple booking. You made him a monster. There you go. And you gave him a catchphrase and you put people in the Hall of Pain. Oh my God. Wow. Like,
Right.
why? Did it take you fucking 15 years or whatever it was to fucking figure that shit out? I'll never know. Or longer than that,
I could
actually.
be wrong.
Longer
I
than
could
that.
be wrong about the timing and the just the hype of it. But I would feel they gave the Great Khali more promotion than they did Mark Henry, and
I
Mark Henry is
agree.
way more deserving.
I
I
agree.
mean, yeah, I don't understand when you look at it as a layman, because in wrestling, I love wrestling, but I still consider myself a layman. I look at someone who has had multiple back surgeries and just a big dude. I get it. He's big. But Mark Henry could bench and pull and lift and clean more than any human being in the world. Neither of them, when you compare the Great Khali to Mark Henry, had any better kind of real mic savvy. They weren't good on the mic. It wasn't. I would argue that it was comparable to the least. I don't understand why you don't invest more in him. I guess that's where I'm at. Craig, I don't know
I
if you
think,
have anything to add
well, and
to
I
that.
forget too, a lot of injuries happen in between, and I think that he's such a big guy. Like I said, like you snap hamstrings and shit, and really easy when you're that
Sure.
massive. And I think a lot of injuries came into play. Slash, they just didn't know what to do with him. Slash, like because early on, remember he was sexual chocolate. Like
Yeah.
he impregnated Mae Young with a
Mae Young.
hand. Like I mean, it's so
Sexual
crazy to think
chocolate.
about how
That's right.
fucking back in the Attitude Era we're talking about, And so it's like they tried with him and then like I think he would just get injured and like just a lot of things happened and then just this whole 2011 finally lined up for him. And they found the House of Pain saying and the gimmick and the catchphrase and all that stuff and like it just worked out really well. It sucks that, and I remember a couple years later, he would beat Ryback and end Ryback's undefeated streak when Ryback was hot at the time. And so
Wow.
Vince loved Mark Henry. I just think that if you don't have somebody that's really specializes in the big guys, and I hate to keep going back to Paul Heyman, he knew how to make the big guys the threat. And they would get, the good guy would finally always beat them, always beat the Giants, but you need these big fucking guys to be like this violent monster that like, oh my God, like what babyface can beat them? And then, Heyman would choose one and that would beat the monster. And it's Vince's formula. It's the formula of wrestling. It's always been that way. And I don't know why Henry, maybe it's the injuries. Maybe it was Vince going through his fucking shit phases of just, I don't know what I'm fucking doing anymore or whatever it was. But like Mark Henry never got like yes, he won the World Heavyweight Championship here, but he never got like the big monster run, like the big. So it's really interesting. And I like this year for him because I really liked the House of Pain stuff. I really liked what they finally did with it. It's like they finally realized him. And I don't know if it was just a long run of him not getting injured or what sparked it, but it just worked. And then he also kind of catapulted Daniel Bryan in a weird indirect way. And they tried to bring the Big Show back into it and all that stuff. So I don't know. I really remember this in a weird spot of wrestling. Like, it was just PG and it was just 50-50 booking and kind of shit. I remember Mark Henry, and I think that he deserves to be called out a little bit for it in a positive way because he was cool. It was fun here to watch him. Pardon me.
For audio fans, give us an Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud,
Hook
and
your mouth.
iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion, Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, can you upset Jess to the
Fuck
open
off,
extent?
all you
Give us a follow on
salmon bitches, whatever you want to do.
At O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook
Stupid.
at Our Wrestling Podcast. For Craig, Jess, and Dave, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.
Burn in hell.